how do you handle the killer instinct? What do you do if you're trying to be a good moral person, but then you're in a competition? And in this competition, you want to win. And sometimes to really excel at the highest levels, you have to stay in a state of almost a warlike attitude. It's like a Zen attitude mixed with a belligerent attitude. Sometimes that doesn't feel great. You don't feel good about it afterwards. Some people don't think about it. I get that. But for a lot of people, you have this instinct to be super aggressive in sports, but you also maybe are a Christian or a Muslim, a Hindu, you're a spiritual person. You want to be a moral person. Maybe you're an atheist and you're like a humanist. And it just kind of seems not to fit the way you are on the court with who you want to be in life. I've always thought there's a few ways to look at this. One is you compartmentalize. The best example of this is someone like Russell Westbrook, who's a fierce competitor, but supposedly off the court, he's very nice. If you go back further, Dick Butkus, the football player, was just the most vicious football player in the world. But supposedly off the court, he was a teddy bear. And he said, look, that's just who I am on the field. So that's one way to do it. You compartmentalize it and you say, this is like, sports are kind of like war without killing. It lets those impulses out. It's cathartic. And it's better than the alternative. A lot of young men who are prone to violence go into sports and it steers them the right way. So there's that way to look at it. Another way to look at it is, for the first part of your life, you're a warrior. And then as you get older, you transcend out of that warrior mode. A lot of people do this. I think this has been more my path, to be in that warrior mode. And then after I was done with sports and so forth, to kind of shift out of that completely. It's still hard to do whenever I play sports. I feel that warlike energy, but now what's most important to me is not winning, but being a better person. I think once I crossed 40, that started to happen. Another way to go about this is to be the happy warrior, the joyous warrior, where you're still, you lead like a Steph Curry rather than a Michael Jordan. You still have the killer instinct, but it's done with a smile, not a scowl. So that's another way to do it. I will say, generally speaking, the very best athletes just adopt that warrior mindset. And some of them, it carries over into their whole life. And then others, it's compartmentalized. Kobe was more compartmentalized. It was all about basketball, the killer instinct. Jordan, it was the killer instinct everywhere. I relate more to the Jordan thing. I'm hyper competitive in everything I do. It's a bit psychotic. I've consciously tried to tone it down. It feels like I'm violating who I am in doing that because it's just natural to be that way. But if you have higher spiritual goals, you want to shift out of that at some point. But I have noticed that the very best athletes, most of them anyways, they have the scowl, they have the snarl. They're not the friendliest people. I was reading a Tiger Woods biography the other day, and what surprised me was this comment from his mother. She told Tiger about competing. She said, in sport, you have to go for the throat. Because if all friendly, they come back and beat your ass. So you kill them. Take their heart. And when you read this biography, Tiger took that to heart. He was somebody who had the killer instinct. He was Michael Jordan. He was Kobe Bryant. That's how he lived. And I think what's interesting is a lot of killers with the killer instinct aren't as religious as someone like Steph Curry. And I think Curry's Christianity tempers the killer instinct in him. The scowling version of the killer instinct. He still has it, and sometimes it comes out. It's not that like somebody who's the joyous warrior isn't joyous 100% of the time. You've seen Curry throw the mouth guard. And it's not like Jordan didn't, or Kobe or Tiger didn't smile sometimes. I'm just saying overall. But that quote got me thinking again about the nature of the killer instinct and what do you do with it? I look back sometimes at how I treated people that I played with, how I acted when I lost, and I almost cringed because I was kick trash cans, I'd throw things in meaningless pickup games. Anger. Vicious anger. I always thought that's what made me halfway decent at what I did and anything I did. But I also cringe because I don't know, when you get to heaven, right? When you're at the pearly gates, so to speak, well, they say, hey, you were just playing basketball. It was just business. Or is life life? And everything you do in life, are you weighed by how you behave morally? How you treat other people in every aspect of life? Do they carve out a section for being an asshole to lead your team to 6 championships? I don't know. Anyways, this is Dylan with basketballbrain.com. Please go to basketballbrain.com to get the full program. Check out Boing Vert's new program, Hummingbird. If you get Hummingbird, you also get Basketball Brain. I love doing these discussions on the Killer Instinct. And if you haven't seen it at my website, dylanfreed.com, you can also get the Killer Instinct program.